Gavin Newsom, who's running around saying we all have California derangement syndrome. He's just like ripping off Trump derangement and calling it California derangement. It's like, no. How many corporations have left California?
California's situation is just astonishing. No seems to be the refrain. How many businesses have actually left the state? The numbers are staggering. Let's take a moment to unpack this, because mentioning California sometimes feels like poking a hornet's nest. Governor Gavin Newsom has even coined a new term, California derangement syndrome. Yes, he's trying to be witty, twisting the idea of Trump derangement syndrome. But really, is it crazy to point out what's right in front of everyone? Companies are leaving. Residents are moving away. The cost of living is soaring. Homelessness is on the rise. And when the topic of education came up, Newsom smiled, gestured dramatically, and praised California schools as if that alone solved all problems. It's the political equivalent of telling people, don't peek behind the curtain. Joe Rogan wasn't impressed. In fact, he launched a blistering critique of Newsom, joined by Elon Musk. The moment was equal parts shocking and absurd. Rogan highlighted what many Californians already feel. This state has become a textbook case of how even well-intentioned leadership can waste billions while making conditions worse. Musk, who famously moved Tesla out of California, spoke plainly. Too many people profit from instability, and that's a core reason the state is struggling. Let's be clear about the evidence. The companies that have packed up and left are major players: Chevron, Oracle, Tesla. These are not small-time businesses. They didn't leave because Texas has better beaches or sunnier weather. The reality is California's taxes and regulations make it extremely difficult to operate there. In 2020, Oracle moved to Austin. Tesla followed in 2021, and in 2024, Chevron relocated to Houston after spending a century in the Golden State. The departure of these companies, the very pillars of the California dream, is no coincidence. It's a warning sign for the future of the state.
There's always something. That's what's nuts. There's always some new law that's passed, some new insane thing that California's doing.
Yeah.
And it's like a giant chunk of it's happening in California. The most preposterous things that I get.
Yeah.
And then you got Gavin Newsom, who's running around saying we all have California derangement syndrome. He's just like ripping off Trump derangement and calling it California derangement. It's like, no. How many corporations have left California?
It's crazy. Like,
hundreds.
Yes, hundreds.
Right? Hundreds.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I think In-N-Out left.
Yeah, In-N-Out left. They moved to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, we can't do this anymore.
Right. And
It's
like,
the California company for food. It's
Yes.
like the greatest hamburger place ever.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm actually, speaking of like just sort of open source and like looking at things openly, I just like going in and out and seeing them make
The most ridiculous part is how Newsom treats these corporate departures like a minor inconvenience, as if moving a headquarters across the country is the same as a weekend trip. Rogan didn't hold back. How many wake-up calls does it take before admitting the system is broken? California keeps branding itself as the land of opportunity, yet jobs and investments are steadily moving east. Meanwhile, homelessness looms larger than ever. The elephant in the room, or maybe more accurately, the tent. What should have been a manageable issue has ballooned into a $24 billion problem. Yes, that's $24 billion. And despite that astronomical spending, the situation has only worsened. Streets are crowded with tents, crime rates are climbing, and public drug use is rampant. Officials often pat themselves on the back, framing their inaction as empathy. But that's the core problem. This isn't genuine compassion, it's carelessness masquerading as virtue. Policies that sound impressive on paper fail when implemented. Instead of helping people rebuild their lives, the system fosters dependence, turning what should be temporary support into long-term normalization of street camping. The streets remain cluttered, while the rhetoric paints a very different picture.
And I'm actually, speaking of like just sort of open source and like looking at things openly, I just like going in and out and seeing them make the burger.
Yeah, it's right there.
They chop the onions and they you just see everything getting made in front of you.
Yeah.
It's great. But yeah, it should be like, how many wake-up calls do you need to say that needs to be reform in California? You know?
Well, the crazy thing that Newsom does is whenever someone brings up the problems in California, he starts rattling off all the positives. The most Fortune 500 companies, highest education, but yeah, that was all already there before you were governor.
But how many Fortune 500 companies have left California?
Right. And then you guys spent $24 billion on the homeless, and it got way worse.
Yes. like the homeless population doubled or something. Like people don't understand like the homeless thing because it sort of preys on people's empathy, and I think we should have empathy, and we should try to help people.
Musk even called it the homeless industrial complex, and the name fits. Think about it. The number of people experiencing homelessness directly determines how much funding flows to nonprofits, contractors, and city agencies. The more tents on the streets, the more grants are handed out. The more individuals struggling with addiction, the more programs appear. The system's financial structure depends on the problem persisting. That's the harsh reality. As Musk pointed out, the incentives are completely misaligned. The goal of these organizations isn't actually to end homelessness, because if they succeeded, many of them wouldn't have jobs. So what happens instead? People are kept in cycles of addiction, hardship, and barely scraping by, just enough to maintain the flow of money, but never enough to create real improvement. The system survives on suffering, and the people it's supposed to help continue to pay the price.
But the homeless industrial complex is really it's dark, man. It should be that network of NGOs should be called like the drug zombie farmers, because the more homeless people and really like when you meet like somebody who's like totally dead inside, shuffling along down the street with a needle dangling out of their leg. The homeless is the wrong word. Like the homeless implies that somebody got a little behind in their mortgage payments, and if they just got a job offer, they'd be back on their feet. But someone who's, I mean, you see these videos of people that are just shuffling. They're on fentanyl. They're like, taking a dump in the middle of the street. And they got like open sores and stuff. They're not like one job offer away from getting back.
This is where things get even worse. The drug dealers operating in these areas are well known to the authorities, but they aren't being pursued. Why? Because if the dealers disappear, so do the addicts. No dealers, no addiction-driven revenue. The system has essentially decided to step back. Musk called them drug zombie farmers. It's a harsh term, but disturbingly accurate. Anyone who has walked the streets of Los Angeles or San Francisco can see what he means. People trapped in addiction, barely functioning, abandoned by a system that claims to care. The irony stings. California struggles to keep sidewalks clean, yet spends more on homelessness than many nations do on infrastructure. And if you need proof that this isn't just theory, the evidence is all around you.
So it's a propaganda word.
Right.
So, and then these sort of charities, of course, they get money proportionate to the number of homeless people or number of drug zombies.
Right.
So their incentive structure is to maximize the number of drug zombies, not minimize it.
Right.
That's why they don't arrest the drug dealers, because if they arrest the drug dealers, the drug zombies leave. So they know who the drug dealers are. They don't arrest them on purpose, because otherwise the drug zombies would leave, and they would stop getting money from the state of California and from all the charities.
Remember what happened when the Chinese president stayed overnight in San Francisco? Almost instantly, the city cleared out homeless camps. The streets were spotless, tents disappeared, and the city looked pristine. Suddenly, the very leaders who had insisted the problem was too complex to solve found a solution in just one day. Clearly, success is possible. They just don't act until it serves them politically. That's not leadership, it's theater. San Francisco's bizarre tax system only makes matters worse. Take the gross receipts tax, for example. Unlike typical taxes on profit, this one taxes the total value of every transaction a business completes, even if the company isn't turning a huge profit. Essentially, it punishes companies simply for doing business. So it's no wonder that firms like Square and Stripe decided to leave. Jack Dorsey himself publicly confirmed that San Francisco's restrictive rules forced them to relocate. And where does that tax revenue go? Back into the same broken system of homelessness. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of failure, a revolving door of money that never fixes the underlying issues. Social programs and nonprofits receive billions each year, yet the problems remain. Crime climbs, homelessness grows, and addiction worsens. In some reports, the funding per homeless individual reaches nearly $1 million, and still the streets stay the same.
Real? So they're in coordination with law enforcement on this?
Yeah.
So how do they have those meetings?
They're all in cahoots.
Well, when you find this,
it's like such. This is a diabolical scam. And San Francisco's got this tax, this gross receipts tax, which it's not even on revenue; it's on all transactions, which is why Stripe and Square and a whole bunch of financial companies had to move out of San Francisco, because it wasn't a tax on revenue; it's a tax on transactions. So if you do like trillions of dollars transactions. It's not revenue. You're taxed on any money going through the system in San Francisco. Like Jack Dorsey pointed this out, and they said like that they had to move Square from San Francisco to Oakland, I think. Stripe had to move from San Francisco to South San Francisco, a different city. And that money goes to the homeless industrial complex, that tax that was passed. So there's billions of dollars that go, as you pointed out, there's billions of dollars every year that go to these non-governmental organizations that are funded by the state. Like, it's not clear how to turn this off.
Think about that for a moment. Even with nearly $1 million spent per person, they remain homeless. With that kind of funding, each individual could have an apartment, access to a therapist, and a job coach, but instead the money disappears into endless meetings, payroll, translation services, administrative overhead, and programs that yield no real results. It's easy to understand why Rogan's frustration resonates with so many. This isn't because Californians don't care about the homeless, they do. But empathy without accountability leads to chaos. True compassion requires consequences. Otherwise, when people die on the streets, it's nothing more than performative virtue signaling. The issue won't be solved unless California genuinely commits to fixing it, not just funding it. What's needed is a complete overhaul, mandated addiction treatment, functioning mental health facilities, structured rehabilitation programs, and temporary housing tied to workforce reintegration. Clean up the encampments, uphold public safety, stop pretending it's humane to let people live and die on sidewalks. It's not. It's negligence masquerading as compassionate leadership, and this is where politics enters the equation. Many refuse to acknowledge what Musk highlighted, but it's no accident. It's deliberate and ideological. Politicians who created this system exploit suffering to advance their own agendas, framing it as injustice, systemic inequity, or whatever fits the narrative of the week. Meanwhile, the streets continue to expand and the money keeps flowing. If that sounds cynical, consider who benefits. Nonprofits receive massive funding, consultants rake in government contracts, politicians dodge responsibility while appearing empathetic, and anyone who questions the system is branded a villain. The latest tactic: discredit your critics to avoid accountability.
It's a self-licking ice cream cone situation. They get this money. The money is proportionate to the number of homeless people or number of drug zombies, essentially. So they try to keep that. They try to actually increase, because that like in some cases, like it's somebody did an analysis. When you add up all the money that's flowing, they're getting close to $1 million per homeless per drug zombie. It's like $900,000, something like some crazy amount of money is going to these organizations. So so they want to keep people just barely alive. They need to keep them in the area so they get the revenue. So that's why, like, so they don't arrest the drug dealers, because otherwise the drug zombies would leave. But they don't want to have too much. If they get too much drugs, then they die. So they're kept in this sort of perpetual zone of being addicted, but just barely.
That campaign of defamation has targeted both Rogan and Musk. Simply for having honest conversations on his podcast, Rogan is labeled a disinformation machine. Musk, because of his acquisition of Twitter and his defense of free speech, is painted as a threat to democracy. The same playbook is used every time. Disagree with the narrative, and suddenly you're dangerous, biased, or alt-right. The media falls in line like obedient lapdogs. Rogan handled it brilliantly. On the far left, there is no room for debate. They have a brand, and their response is simple: cancel. Question them, and suddenly you're a Nazi. Raise policy concerns, and you're accused of rejecting science. Advocate for accountability, and you're called heartless. It's all emotional manipulation disguised as moral superiority. No one is suggesting California ignore human suffering or enforce draconian policies. Balance is essential. True empathy isn't about making politicians feel good. It's about long-term solutions that actually help people. Cleaning the streets, enforcing laws, and offering real rehabilitation isn't cruelty, it's effective compassion. California once symbolized freedom, prosperity, innovation, and opportunity in the US. Today, it serves as a cautionary tale of what happens when ideology replaces pragmatism. The consequences are evident: unregulated drug markets, rising crime, exorbitant housing, and a government more focused on appearances than results. And this isn't just a California problem. Other states are adopting similar approaches. Look at Austin, Texas. drug use spreading in public spaces, libraries becoming unsafe, tolerance pushed too far, and elite interests profiting from decline. The same patterns extend into the legal system, showing that when governance prioritizes ideology over responsibility, everyone suffers. Remember the story Rogan shared about the judge who sent criminals to a rehabilitation facility where they were actually paid? It's a complete conflict of interest. Under the guise of rehabilitation, many individuals who should have faced serious consequences were released back onto the streets. Shockingly, some of these judges didn't even have the proper legal qualifications to hold office. It's not justice, it's corruption dressed up as compassion. Homelessness isn't just a problem in California, it's a failure of accountability. Billions of dollars vanish, programs fail, and nobody faces consequences. The only ones benefiting are the people cashing the checks. The ultimate insult is watching Newsom suddenly clean up the streets for a photo op whenever a foreign leader visits.
Well, how is this coordinated with like DAs that they'll prosecute people?
Yeah.
So when they hire they push, so they fund the campaigns of the most progressive, most out there left-wing DAs. They get them into office.
We've got that issue in Austin too, by the way.
We
Did you see that guy that got shot in the library?
No,
I heard about a guy got shot and killed in the library. I think that was just like last week or something.
Right.
So some friends of mine were telling me that like the library's unsafe. Like they took their kids to the library, and there were like dangerous people in the library. And
It's all about priorities. If it can be done in a single day for appearances, it can be done anytime, but it isn't. That's why people like Musk and Rogan speak out. They aren't playing politics, they are revealing reality. Both have lived in California and personally witnessed its decline. They don't hesitate to say what millions already believe: nothing will change unless the incentives shift and the system itself is restructured. Yes, maybe we have California derangement syndrome, but it's not about obsession. It's about watching one of America's most iconic states unravel in real time.
Wasn't there a crazy story about the judge who was involved, who had previously dealt with this person, was also invested in a rehabilitation center and was sending these
conflict of interest.
Yes. So sending people that they were charging to a rehabilitation center instead of putting them in jail, profiting from this rehabilitation center, letting them back out on the street.
Yes, and
violent, insane people.
And there, in that case, I believe that judge has no law degree or a significant legal experience that would allow him to be a judge.
While leaders pretend all is well, voters eventually have to see through the spin. Moral theater can't replace practical solutions forever. The good news? California can still be saved. If people stop treating empathy as an excuse for inaction and start demanding real results, the state can once again become the beacon of opportunity, innovation, and prosperity it once was. Few in positions of power want to admit that chaos can be profitable. Campaigns are funded by misery, money flows from failure, and those at the top have little incentive to stop it as long as the system benefits them. That's the tragedy.
I have friends that are comedians that called you a Nazi, and I got pissed off.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Like definitely a Nazi. No, because you did that thing at the My Heart Goes Out to You.
Everyone
everyone, all of them.
Literally.
Tim Walz, Kamala Harris, every one of them did it. They all did it.
How do you point at the crowd? How do you wave at the crowd?
Do you know CNN was using a photo of me whenever I got in trouble during COVID from the UFC weigh-ins? And if the UFC weigh-ins, I go, "Hey everybody, welcome to the weigh-ins." And so they were getting me from the side, and that was the photo that they used. Conspiracy Theorist podcast for Joe Rogan. Like that's what they used.
Yeah, but that's what the left is today. It's super judgy and calling everyone.
California could rebuild its middle class, clean up its streets, and reclaim its reputation as the Golden State, yet it won't, because too many people profit from the disorder. Meanwhile, the rest of us simply see reality for what it is. Newsom may continue to call it California derangement syndrome, but the facts are undeniable. Is there hope for California, or is it already too late? Share your thoughts in the comments and hit like if you agree. Don't forget to subscribe for more candid perspectives like this one. As Joe Rogan said, this isn't about politics, it's about common sense. And right now, common sense is in short supply in California.